Today's number is one. One positive interaction every single day is going to multiply. I promise you that. And in doing so, you're going to see such growth in your business or your life or your family or your whatever it may be, your profession. That is something that you need to take into account every single day, because that one positive action will multiply and multiply and multiply. The exponential gains from it is huge. And here's how this is going to play out in today's video. Now, I'm Ryan, and if you don't know me, that's okay, because I plan to build $1 million Pokemon business while climbing out of nearly $1 million in debt. Every day I'm going over the kind of deals and strategies and things I'm doing in order to grow this business. If that's your kind of content, please subscribe. Now, yesterday we were doing a live video. We were just doing a sift and sort and talking with people, but we had our guest yesterday was Ivan from Slab Hobby. I like Ivan a lot. I've spent some time getting to know him, and while we haven't had a lot of time to interact in this capacity, we spent 3 hours on a call while we were doing kind of our nightly packing and sifting. It was a wonderful time. And as we were closing up the night, I noticed that Micah from SwordSwift had joined the chat, and all he had done was join. But I offered it, hey, if we're about to close up, I can either close down, or if you'd like, we can get on a chat. We can just talk for a little while. Now, we talked almost to a room of 2 or 3 people for about 2 hours, from about 12 a.m. to about 2 a.m. And that conversation is what I'm going to showcase as soon as this intro is over. But what I need you to gain from this is the fact that that positive interaction, that 2-hour window, really made change. Because starting today, SwordSwift is going to double its inventory count on all entry tiers for all of your kind of inventory management, adding in a basic and advanced pricing tools to all of those tiers, and increasing high accuracy scans. They're also going to be allowing you to choose which platform you sync to. Currently, or at least up until today, you had to kind of buy a package, and whatever the package had, you didn't get to choose which platforms you got to sync to. But because of the conversation we had last night, he is changing how his business operates. And that's the message I want you to take away from. Now, I want you to watch the video because it was a good kind of conversation, but more importantly, it was a good conversation for you to understand how to approach people in the business. That it isn't just about you have a complaint that you don't like somebody shilling something, or you don't like the price point of something. If you don't like something, go approach somebody, but do it positively. How would you want to be approached in your business? If somebody didn't like your rate card, would you want them to complain to you or talk bad about you? Or would you like them to approach you about, hey, is there any room for improvement in the future? Or what would it take to improve that? That is the way to make change in the positive sense in this business. And that's what I want you to get from the video that will follow. Now, all of these changes got made because Micah made a business decision. All I was doing was having a conversation, but the way in which I approached that conversation made it approachable for him to say, you know what, let me think about that. Let me see what I can do. Now, is it all the changes that all of you would want, or even that I would want? Probably not. Do I know for a fact that now or in the future I'm going to use or switch to SwordSwift? No, I do not. I've been pretty adamant about the fact that while I plan to use the SwordSwift scans for the competition that I'm going to be doing with Bronze God here in about 2 weeks, that I really wanted to showcase my buddy Sam and his Loomis Live tool, because I think he's starting something that's great, and I really want to give him the benefit of showcasing what he's been growing and what he's capable of. Now, that doesn't mean that you should use Loomis Live either. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be using SwordSwift. It means that for all of these things, you should give them an opportunity, both as people and as platforms. Couple quick questions on this machine of yours. I'm guessing it would need to have a SwordSwift account at the very least, correct?
So you go log into your SwordSwift account, then that connects it to our server, and then after you're logged in there, you've got to log into your TCG Player account, and once it's logged in, basically it just starts handling all the automation of like the Chrome extension and everything like that.
So is the inventory itself sitting on your tool or on your system, or is it just operating in the background regardless of SwordSwift, I guess? Does the person's inventory have to be on your inventory management system? Because I think you have like a free version that holds up to like 2,500 cards, correct?
Yeah, it has to be on our system because we're generating and auto pricing and everything for you.
Okay.
Updating the CSV file, sending those over. Anytime something sells on Manipool or eBay, it'll take it off TCG Player for you. If it sells on TCG Player, it takes it off eBay and Manipool for you.
Okay.
The whole everything.
By the way, I'm probably going to ask ridiculous questions, but so I want to more or less ask the questions I think others may have, myself probably included. Okay, so this box runs independently. I'm guessing it has some sort of a Wi-Fi operation, so it can do that at all times. Is there some sort of a recommendation that if Wi-Fi went down, what you would do in that scenario as like a safety check so that you're not getting potentially pounded by multiple orders or going to multiple platforms?
If the device is ever like not connected, like it's got its own little heartbeat,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll on your Sort Swift interface pop up a big old like warning banner and say, hey, your device isn't connected. Go relog it in.
But what if you couldn't? What if you couldn't because like Wi-Fi is just down in your area or something? Is there a kill switch that makes it so it doesn't like TCG player shuts down for an hour or something until? Is there something like that built in, or a better way to do it that I'm not thinking of?
What do you mean? Like if it'll catch back up whenever everything comes back on.
Well, okay, but if I have one card that's available across 5 platforms and it gets sold on one of those platforms, but also in theory could be sold on another platform, in this case, TCG Player being one of them. Let's just say TCG Player and Mana Pool for this example. If I don't kill TCG Player, it could theoretically, one card, the only card that I have, could be sold in 2 different locations because one is counting on the Wi-Fi to pick up the order. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's backup networks configured, so you could turn your hotspot on.
Okay.
I also suggest like a battery backup just plugged into that itself. I mean, it lasts like probably a week or two. Just on
Wouldn't Wi-Fi be the issue though? The reason I stuck with battery or with Wi-Fi and not battery is because at the end of the day, like I could come up with a battery backup, but I couldn't come up with a Wi-Fi replacement in theory.
well, so you can always plug your Wi-Fi into the hotspot or your Wi-Fi into the battery backup, and it stays on unless it's downstream at the ISP.
Oh, I was thinking downstream. I was thinking like literally, this happens way more than I care to admit. My Verizon will just go out for whatever reason. I don't know why. So that's more or less where my head was at.
Yeah, I mean, if you're having Wi-Fi issues, like I'd probably suggest, just getting like a mobile hotspot or something and running on it. It's just accessing a network or a web page. It wouldn't be too bad to operate on a mobile hotspot.
Gotcha. So it's not going to corrupt your data or whatever. Okay, so you sold 3 of those machines today. Is that about average on a week?
No, we've sold 90 of these machines. I was only able to ship the first 2 because we finally got it solid enough to ship.
Oh, so you've sold 90 and you're only now shipping like the first couple?
Yeah, we're shipping the first wave. The first 30 should be going out hopefully tomorrow into the next day. I really want to get it done tomorrow, but
Good night, Eck. How long does it take to make one of these things?
well, wave 1 isn't really a good.
No. What's the average likely to be? Not what it's going to be kind of in this initial phase.
Next day, once everything's done.
Okay.
I mean, it's not too difficult, assuming I have everything on. Otherwise, that could be a few days.
So it's all manufactured in-house, right?
Yep.
You've built a lot of machines. What's the machine that you're most proud of? The Mini?
Yeah.
So why this one? Why are we so proud of this one?
Because it's more small people friendly.
Okay.
Plus, it can do a lot for what it is. I mean, I think I need to reconfigure Wi-Fi. Since we moved, and since we moved, I haven't had time to actually finish everything. Like I'm still moving. So,
I mean, you just moved like 2 weeks ago, right? If I remember correctly, something like that.
probably
Maybe.
about 2 weeks. So.
Yeah.
We've unloaded the stuff in the house into this room, and that's as far as we've gotten. We've been hanging up blinds, curtains, putting shelves up. Wife was able to put her little like hobby desk together, but I
Oh,
haven't had time to.
what does she do for a hobby?
Um, so like, let's get over here. She does her little like minis. So she's got the paint desk, which I'm
Okay.
gonna use for her, but um, she does those, and then she does these little like mini verse ball things.
What's that? I've never seen that.
Oops, my camera. They're just. I think there's one in this box. They're like little things you mix and make to make a little like, I guess, miniature model of something.
Okay. And she makes those?
Yeah, so it's got like resin and stuff in it, and like little like strawberries or something to make like a cheesecake or something with the mixing of the resin and decorating it pretty much.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's what she likes doing.
So is this full time for both of you basically at this point? Does she help out in the business?
The card store now.
Okay.
Yeah, she does all of our shipping, um, all her stuff. The complaints of card scanning issues. She opens tickets, anything that I need and ask for on my end. But put that there, it's gonna echo. So, I mean, I try to keep her fed with cards to scan.
So how much do you do from a scanning, like a selling perspective, not just like the machines and the software, but like actually like the being a slinger?
Not much anymore, honestly.
Imagine most of the time spent on the machines and the software at this point.
In the software, this is a nice stack. It's just not English, which we support not English now, so that's great. We can take that. The marketplace has now kind of taken over. The sync box is our next big thing. Wow. Um, like that. Look at this.
Oh, that's nice.
A dark dragonite foil,
That's nice.
but it's in German.
Still, I mean, well, you said that you guys take non-English. Do you take just primarily Japanese, or do you take any language now?
So our system does any language now, so it's not a huge deal to list it all. And it looks like there's a giant stack of Japanese that I could give her too.
So I don't know. Have you been following the duel that Bronze and I are going to be doing here shortly in like 2 weeks?
I haven't been paying much attention to YouTube lately.
Okay. I don't blame you. So we're gonna do he's doing a 12-hour stream where he's gonna list as much as he can. Now he's using Card Uploader. I plan to use the free version of your software to show how that does in terms of the scans that come out of the free version, and sort of do a hourly rate side by side. That how much did was he able to accomplish? How much was I able to accomplish in a kind of 12-hour span? We're both prepping the battlefield by making sure we have everything ready and sorted out by hollows or whatever, and then the other thing, conditioning and stuff like that. But it was more of a challenge to just get our asses to list, and then I was saying, well, I want to do something a little different, and so my little different is I'm going to be using a different scanning software than what he's using because I want to see how they operate kind of side by side. So, any tips or tricks you have for the scanning?
What are you scanning? Like what game?
Pokemon.
English, Japanese.
English only. Maybe like 150 Japanese tops.
Okay. No, I mean it should be okay. I mean, if you're worried about reverse hollows, I'd probably pre-sort those out.
I do that anyway, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
If I wasn't using the free software, it would be better without, or is it still sort of
If you weren't
uh
using free, I wouldn't be worried about it.
okay, good to know.
You can always cheat and press R whenever a free one doesn't get it right.
Okay, it's good to know.
Yeah, that'll run it through high accuracy.
R is high accuracy, huh?
Yep.
Okay. I'll give myself the elegance of saying it's part of the software, and I have only so many credits. I think it's like 500 or something like that to do on the
Yeah.
month. So,
Yeah.
so in theory, I think you've shown me the mini, and there's another like little black box. I can't remember what that one's called. Where like I saw a guy the other day. I can't remember his Instagram handle. I'd have to go back to it.
Collectibles.
No, I do like his a lot though. I gave him a lot of props. He's got a nice Instagram right now. It's a guy who's running 3 Rico.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Oh,
Honestly, he was abusing our unlimited system. Um,
oh no.
so I had to implement a lock for unlimited because unlimited is only for one scanner.
Oh no.
So yeah, it's kind of calculated where it doesn't completely kill our cost on that for one scanner. So it's kind of calculated at our break even point. We might lose a little bit if somebody just runs through unlimited like constantly, but if somebody's running unlimited on 3, uh, yeah, it definitely is a 100% loss. So I had to go fix that.
So I'm curious how it was running in the first place though.
That's through the simple sifter.
So he's using the simple sifter tool that does the automated like running.
Yeah.
So again, because there's going to be people who haven't seen, heard. What is that tool? How does it work?
So the simple sifter is just a Raspberry Pi that reads out, all the scanners that are connected to it. As you scan, it's going to automatically list those cards into the SourceSwift interface without you having to save the files and then upload them again. So what it's theoretically doing is eliminating the file upload step completely. It also allows you to search your inventory for chaos sort spots that need sorted into. It's sorting. Sift. It can sift for you, so like you can scan all your cards and then put them, into specific stacks of over this value, under this value, and I don't want to keep this stuff because I'm sifting it, right? You're just scanning it to sift and pull out and only list the higher stuff. That's what the sifter's built for, is to kind of eliminate what you're doing by hand. It'll say, okay, pull out cards 16, 20, 25, and all that.
But it's not pulling it out. It's just noting. It's saying it. Don't put that into the file because I'm going to pull it at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to what he had, and I guess can he no longer run that same capacity the way it was?
I mean, he can if he subscribes to more unlimited plans, yeah. Or if he subscribes to any plan that has counted scans, he can still run like that.
So he would have to join the unlimited plan. So if he had the unlimited plan, it wouldn't matter how many scanners he has, or is it unlimited
No,
per?
he was on the unlimited plan, but the unlimited plan is for one scanner, not 3 scanners on one sifter.
Okay, so he would need 3 different plans in order to do it, basically.
Unless he has a limited amount of scans, right? So if he's on the 50,000 scan plan, that would work.
Okay, so it's not actually that repeatable in this scenario.
It's doable. You just subscribe to the 50,000 plan instead of the unlimited plan, and you can do it.
Yeah, but the 50,000, so 50,000 scans. How much? So how much is the 50,000 scans or 50,000 plan? Just out of curiosity.
The same as the unlimited plan, which is $199.
Okay, but one unlimited plan would only take care of one scanner, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Or 50,000 across 3 scanners, at which point you don't care.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So, man, that's going to change his operation, I imagine.
Haven't heard any complaints, so we'll see. Maybe I didn't completely fix it. Maybe it's still doing it. We'll never know.
I'm sure he'll be less in the videos. So if he's got, or anybody has multiple machines running, they can just do a per scan, and 50,000 scans a month is 199.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's, I don't know how many scans I would do a month, to be honest with you. So I can't really tell you. So what's the value add in the Simple Sifter? Is it Simple Sifter? Do I have that right?
Yeah, Simple Sifter is just the Raspberry Pi thing. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. What's the machine? The mini sorter?
Yeah, the Super Sorter Mini.
Super sorter. There we go. That's actually going to do what I'm doing, which is literally put into XPile location effectively.
Yeah.
And it will also create little lots, if it will, like this is my bin of 150 or whatever, and that's what I have in that remark.
Yeah, it can do that.
Okay. So that would be a value add, because then it's making a auto-sized remark bin as a part of its natural size, which I guess in this case is slightly a limitation, but it's also a lot like, yeah, but are you going to put more than 150 cards in a particular bin?
Usually not. Most people do 100. So I've seen a lot of people doing 35 is like the most common.
Why 35?
35 because it fits in the hand nicely, and you don't have to alphabetically sort it.
Okay. All right, that's an interesting one. So how many have you pre-sold of the simple or the mini? Excuse me.
8 or 9, and so far, I believe 2 are paid in full. The third and fourth one are about to be paid in full, so that they're starting to stack up on me, but they're a lot quicker to build than everything else.
I think I've asked this before personally, but again, for the opportunity for others to hear in case they haven't or they want to know, you don't have financing right now. You could maybe do it through some other form of, but you don't carry that in-house on these machines.
No, I don't have grant money to be able to afford that.
You would need grant money. That's interesting. Is that just standard for the industry?
No, the competitors are only able to offer that because they're funded by grants.
Gotcha. So, and I believe is it 9 for the mini?
Yeah, 8999, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's with or without it's with the FI80s, whatever 817.
Yeah, it does include that.
Okay. So in theory, a perfect setup would have one of your, well, could be any of the machines, but we'll say the mini, the simple sifter, and the black box, whatever, the TCG black box. Is that about the right econ for most smaller mid-sized sellers?
Yeah. The Super Sorter Mini is probably the most, well, I wouldn't say most affordable entry level one, because you've got the Magic Sorter. But if you want something that's capable, doesn't break down all the time, and just runs, then the next cheapest option is the Super Sorter Mini.
And what's the life like? Is the challenge? Where's the breakdown going to be? Is it the little parts that make it like move towards a specific bin, or is it going to be the scanner itself? Like, all these machines need some sort of care and maintenance. So where's the care and maintenance challenge?
The motor.
The motor. Okay.
Yeah. So they're all direct drive. So literally it's a pop off, pop on thing.
Okay. So that's just a quick replace DIY almost.
Yeah. Whenever you get to the back units, they take a little bit longer, but they're also DIY capable.
Okay. So if you had the mini, the black box, and the simple sifter, what would that run you as a business?
Mini, simple sifter, black box, like just outright purchase price?
Yeah.
I think the sifter you can build nowadays for around 230.
What if you're not DIY? You're not tech savvy.
Then you can't build one. There's no way to get one without building it.
Oh, I thought you guys had like a way to get it from you. Maybe I was wrong.
We don't currently.
Gotcha.
But it's literally just a flash and SD card, and there's a full setup guide on how to do all that.
Got it.
Super difficult.
Okay, so two something for that. 9 for the mini. And then how much for the black box?
Black box is $250.
Okay, so you're in for, with tax, just under, well, probably about 10,000.
Yeah, and then you pretty much have everything you need.
And then to run all of that, you would just want one unlimited plan to do it.
So you would need one unlimited plan for the sorting machine, and then however many you want to do for the actual sifter itself. Which, if you're not, if you just want to scan stuff, I mean, you can get away with just needing the sorter itself.
So how do you mean by that? I guess I'm not tracking for that.
Like, if you already have a sorter, there's really no need for the sifter.
Is the sifter duplicative to what the sorter's going to do for you in the end then?
Basically.
I would have, so it does it eliminate any steps or is it the same process where the sorter automatically uploads?
Yeah, the sorter automatically uploads and everything for you.
Okay, so there's really no reason to have both.
No.
At the end of the day. Okay. The only reason to have the sifter is if you wanted to just use your own home version without necessarily having the sorter.
Yep.
Okay. But then you're doing a lot of the manual pre-sort for yourself. How well does any of the software, or for that matter, machines potentially, do with conditioning? Is that something that still also has to be done by hand, or is that something that either the tools or the software can do better and better as time goes on?
So there's really no model that exists that conditions like anywhere.
Okay.
We're kind of have one on a back burner, but it's not something that we've prioritized or wanted to go forward with because the compute power to actually condition it is really expensive, more expensive than we were thinking. But I think one of our moderators was just playing around with it, trying to build something.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have to see what all he's actually doing with that.
Makes sense. Well, what's something you wish people knew more that maybe they don't know about the tools or the tech? Obviously, there's been a big push, kind of marketing push from some of the YouTubers, but what's something you think that's missing that they haven't either talked about enough or gets glossed over?
Everybody keeps saying we're expensive.
Okay.
And if you go look at actual competitors, like Card Uploader, in my opinion, is not a competitor to what we're offering. You
So
know,
why is that?
so they don't have a point of sale. They don't have, integrated shipping. They don't have multi-channel, integrations. They're working on it, but they don't have like full APIs for all this. They, as far as I'm aware of, don't do cost per card or, any of that stuff. But they don't have reporting, you know, all the stuff that a store actually needs, staff management, a buy list, kiosk stuff, a whole website to sell your stuff on. Um, in my opinion, they're not at the scale of, something like Binder POS. Like, would you compare Card Uploader to Binder POS?
No, but I would say that you're talking about two very different audiences then.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where SourceSwift kind of comes together, right? It's targeting both audiences.
So would you say it's fair that Card Uploader probably does a good amount of things, but it's not going to reach this sort of mid cap size store level that your tool can also operate in?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Yeah. And but for a home store, and I think this is where kind of the challenges from the online rhetoric seems to be is, yeah, but I'm not ever going to be, or I'm not at that scale or likely to be at that scale. So then price becomes a price sensitive issue, right? Like, is that, I think you have, this is where I wanted to test the free versions. And I know that you have a like 2,500 listings. So I guess, is there, okay, so your question centered around, or your answer centered around, I wish people took kind of less of a shot at the pricing. And I guess what I'm saying is there any from your side of this to say, like, I understand where they're coming from if they're going to do 10,000 cards, but that's all they're probably ever going to do in a monthly basis or whatever it may be, because like they're fine in this home environment. Like you have TJ, he's fine in a home environment, but he does pretty good volume and he's got a pretty good shtick going on, right? Like he's been doing this for 2 years. Maybe a homegrown newer seller, the price point does become the challenge.
Yeah, and that's also where, we've got the entry tiers, right?
Right.
So as somebody grows, a lot of these stores are saying, "Oh, well, it's expensive," but they don't realize that we offer free to be able to make it where they can afford and grow. And I mean, we help pay for everyone's shipping. Like,
Yeah, talk more
out of
about that. I'm curious about that. Like, how does that work? And because that does add up. I think I calculated it out. It was like a $30 cash incentive, effectively, a month.
Yeah, like it costs us thousands of dollars a month to be able to pay that for people, right? And I mean, who else offers integrated shipping to their platforms? Of course, everybody's going to say TCG tracking, but I there's got to be some reason he's offering that for free, and it is not because he just wants to.
Is that it's a marketing book? I've never done anything with TCG tracking, so I don't know. I know of them, but I never have used or anything. So I guess it's also fantastic because it's also per day. I don't know what that means. It's fantastic because it's also per day. What does that mean,
I
Wes?
think they're talking about the subsidized shipping.
So what's the per day piece of this?
We pay for up to 25 packages. Like, we help pay for 25 packages per day,
Okay.
and it's not like a limit. I mean, we're probably gonna have to lower it at some point, honestly. But right now we're trying to help as much as we can to help everybody. But um, I feel like some people may be taking advantage of it and signing up multiple accounts and doing multiple shipments per day.
How would that? How would multiple accounts work if it's the same or inventory? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to understand how that would even work.
Because you just sign up and you can use our shipping system.
Oh, so it's not linked through a singular TCG player account.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. You can link that TCG player account, unlink it from one, link it to the other one, and then it just works.
Okay. So there's a little workaround there that may be abused. Um, I think when we last talked, for those of you who may not know, I have on occasion had the opportunity to shoot the shit with Micah here in private chat. You have always been gracious with your time, as you are right now. Um, my question at the time, I want to say like a month ago, was there was like a certain package that you had, and I was like, man, if this was the package, I can't imagine anybody walks away. I think it was just unlimited inventory was kind of the biggest difference. In so, and I can't remember what it was, but I think that was like largely the biggest difference between kind of your $49.99 package and the other ones. Now the free scans were I think you had just rolled out. Um, what's sort of the package that you guys see the most of right now?
Probably starter.
The $49.99.
No, the 99.
And so, what comes in the starter? Because I'm not on the site, and I can pull it up if you would like me to. If that's something that.
It's unlimited inventory. I believe it's card trader and mana pool sync. What else? What's there? One game of auto pricing. I think it also has 1,000 high accuracy scans, and I think that's it.
So 1,000 high accuracy, unlimited, and you said card uploader or and card trader and excuse me, card trader and mana pool.
Yeah.
Could you swap out one of those two tools for eBay?
No.
Is there a reason for that?
eBay limits how much API calls we can do. So if we just give eBay to everybody, then I'm going to have to be constantly requesting increases, and those increases take weeks, which is going to affect everyone whenever we hit those limits.
So if tomorrow everybody just joined max value programming, you might run into a challenge as it relates to that then, right?
Yeah, I definitely would. I would have to immediately reach out for an increase, which
And
I've had to do multiple times, but they're always approved.
it's just a timing of sequence of. So what happens when that happens? Like, does everybody have to slow down for a little while, or kind of what's
I
what's
have to
the
start
order of
talking about
operation?
APIs, and nobody can really do anything until that limit resets the next day.
Okay. Okay. I am obviously new to all of this and don't know enough, but so that's the reason why on the starter package you can't just give everybody eBay because it would screw up the flow of traffic, so to speak, on the APIs with eBay.
Yep.
Got it. Um, and I think it's like, is it $12 or something for a
Yeah,
plugin?
13 bucks a month.
13. And is that 13 then more like a gate so as to say, listen, if you really want this because it's going to create potential choke points, we're going to charge for it at that end? Or is it that's how we're also going to get more API access? I'm just curious how that kind of works.
It's because we don't charge a commission fee on their sales.
Okay.
So, we've got to pay for it in some way through all the infrastructure, enterprise stuff. Like we're paying probably upwards of $10,000 to $20,000 a month on server fees for everything.
Wow. Wow. Is that month over month, no reduction in costs over time?
Correct. It's just going up with more people that join.
Is there no theoretical cap, or is there some
No,
sort of
there's no cap. That's not. um, it's not possible to have a cap on something like that when it's trying to scale.
okay? So, Wes, it seems like you're on Sword Swift. maybe if you have any questions that you really want to ask while you're here, be happy to translate out. Um, so, what got you? Because I remember, listen, I think I've said this to you in the past. I watched you a few streams late at night, kind of programming, or what looked to me in my mind and memory like this is about last year, maybe around this time, maybe into September. Uh, really late night streams, uh, kind of going through the tool. What made you want to develop this?
Um, when Binder started falling apart and I had nothing to use.
So you were on Binder and it was just not working anymore for you.
Yeah.
Got it. What was the failing point of Binder? I have never used Binder. I don't know anything of Binder. I just know that it existed. So what was kind of the failing point?
They started not pushing catalogs properly. Things were pricing at $0. Sometimes catalogs just weren't there. The buy list was just rough to use. And if you weren't on their, oh wow, what is this? Just chilling in here. And if you weren't on their actual like Shopify theme, you couldn't use their systems. Um, so, I wanted something more customizable. So I started looking around. I found one guy, but he turned out to be a complete scam. Still to this day, he is operating, and I have no idea how. But anytime somebody mentions him, I usually try to steer them away.
Okay.
But after that, we built our stuff.
And so how long has it been? How long has it taken to scale from wherever that time period was where Binder and others were not working into what you have now?
Well, we started building everything in, I think it was May of 24.
Okay.
So a little over 2 years.
But that's a pretty quick turn, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a lot that we got done.
What's been the greatest obstacle, challenge in general, or thing that you still haven't overcome?
Can't think of anything right now. I mean, anything that jumps in front of us, we usually tackle pretty quick.
Okay. What's your biggest success?
Source list.
Source itself, just the whole thing. Got it. That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. So you said earlier that the thing you wish more people knew was just that the price point is not as bad as you think it is. I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but if there was something that you wish they'd stop associating with you that isn't about price, what would that be?
Not about price. People think that we're paying all these YouTubers.
Oh, well, shit. Where's my money?
Right? So, all these comments I've seen, like, this is just a big marketing push for SourceFlip. I'm like, they started talking about it. I'm like, hey, here's a reward, thank you, and gave them access. It wasn't really a, well, I'll pay you to do this kind of a chat. And there's a lot of people on there that just the only thing I really see online is, well, it's so expensive. What plan are you on? And everyone's like, well, I get it for free because I'm talking about it basically. And I'm like, that's true. But then they go on and say, not them, but the people that complain are like, well, it's like $500 just to sync eBay. And I'm like, no, it's $13 to sync eBay. And everybody is confused on pricing when It's a build to you system.
So, so I'm going to come back to this as my attempt to be an honest broker and fair in the conversation, right? Like, I one appreciate that you're having the conversation. I am a small time fish, right? I am not Rob or uh, Mason or Louis, right? Like these are the bigger guys that I can think of right off the bat.
All but Mason used SourceSwift, by the way.
What?
I said all but Mason used SourceSwift.
Yeah, no, I appreciate. I don't know. Does Mason use anything?
I don't think Mason used Binder,
But probably not anymore, right?
I think he's just dealing with it currently still.
Got it. So let me be fair-minded in both you as kind of the person on, and I appreciate that for getting on, but also to those who I think are launching the complaint, the voice of yeah, but and I'm using Card Uploader, right? Whether that's a fair assessment or not, because they're going yes, but, and the but is I needed to launch to eBay. I needed to be able to do X, and if I can get the same effective opportunity of launching things to eBay, now not maybe the pricing piece, although I think that they've adjusted some on that. I to be fair, I'm not as familiar with Card Uploader. But if I'm a starting user, $9.99 a month gets me the ability to launch to eBay and Manipool and a few other things, and it's got its own sort of synced inventory management system. And what's there's a vibe check to that, right? That's like it's not $49.99, it's not $99.99 plus. It's sort of I know what my cost basis is, and so you have a free version that limits up to 2,500, but even a fairly small time seller is going to hit that cap pretty quickly if they even start to scale a little bit. So I guess what I'm asking is, do you see it from their perspective that their comparison is this is not the true comparison isn't Binder POS, it is Card Uploader in the space that you're in today, especially since Binder POS seems to not function anymore.
Oh, well, there's other competitors out there other than Binder.
Sure, but I would say, and without naming names, because I have never used them, and I wouldn't want to disparage in general. They're not real competitors either. They're not where the market is. The market seems to be between two main scanning softwares, and maybe there's a few others. TCG tracking that I don't think has scanning, but could do.
Yeah, they do.
They have a scanner. Okay. Do you know what their? Because I do not. Do you know what their pricing does? Is like
$0
for everything.
Yeah.
Now. Okay. So let's say there's three. There's a $0, which even $0 doesn't seem to be the market attractor that Card Uploader seems to be, for whatever reasons that may be. Because the big players right now, at least that I see and hear of, is Card Uploader and your platform. Without it being, I've heard very little mention of TCG tracking by way of comparison in terms of market share, at least on social media, YouTube, Instagram, whatever.
Yeah, they I think have their own like corner of everything.
They being TCG tracking.
Yeah.
And suffice it to say, that's a hell of an opportunity to play zero, but there's probably a long-term reason that you're paying zero now. Would that be the fairest way to state that?
What do you mean?
I mean, I've never used the platform, but somebody tells me I'm paying $0, I'm equally as suspicious as I think others seem to be of your platform, where they're saying, yeah, but it cost me $500, right? And I understand that that's not a truly fair comparison, but what I'm saying is the complaint online that you stipulated is that it cost me $500 a month to do this, and what?
Well, the thing is, there's like 12 subscribers on our entire system out of over 1,000 that are paying for that $500 a month plan.
Oh, I don't doubt that, and I don't think. I think when you and I chopped it up, while I might hit the $500 plan just for the sake of ease in the to press one and be done, um, is there a I think when I looked at it, it was something like $199 for the scans, the unlimited high res, and like 130, I want to say, was what it came to for all the other stuff. So 330. Call it 325. 325 got me eBay. I want to say Shopify, which I have questions about in general because I know that you have launched your LCS market and whatever, and maybe that's the same tool that PokePaster is on now too. On his.
Yeah, he's on our storefronts.
So is there a difference? What's the difference ultimately between the storefront version and the Shopify plugin?
Storefronts is hosted exclusively by us,
Yeah.
built for oops, built basically for TCGs. Got its
Okay.
own deck list builder. It's got built-in buy list. It's basically taking all of the tools we've built and turning it into a like a side project or a sorry, I read that comment.
It's fine. I get it.
Turns it into a like compiled system of everything that's been built.
And it looks like it also takes sealed into consideration. Is that correct?
Yeah, everything. The sealed's always been in the system.
Okay. So,
Um,
and
it
that has
also,
pricing as well.
yep, it's got auto pricing all built. I mean, you have to have these subscriptions, right, to use the storefront, but it compiles everything that you have into that storefront.
When you say you have to have the subscriptions, is that not just the version of whatever whatever the what is this thing called again? Um, so it's either the Shopify plugin or this other model. What's the other model called?
Storefront.
Storefront. Okay, so is Storefront as a subscription not going to carry everything as a holistic unit? Or do I also have to have some sort of other additional thing to be able to do sealed by way of example?
Imagine Shopify, but made by SourceSwift. That's what a storefront is.
Okay. And then the Shopify plugin it will do what comparatively?
It just pushes the stuff to Shopify instead of, like Square or WooCommerce. It's just an integration to push the items to Shopify, just like, you're pushing it to Manapool, but it's using Shopify as a leg instead.
But it's not going to be organized with a filtering side the way that you've built into the storefront and everything else, correct?
Correct.
You would have to then have to manage on the back end your Shopify version of that new inventory.
Right. So the storefront's going to be auto making all of the categories for you, all the filters, adjusting it all, sorting it in ways on the header for you, making it where, if you have a deck list that you surface, it can build a cart straight on the storefront, take payment on the storefront. You can do membership discounts. I've basically built it to be a Patreon replacement as well. You can do.
Wait, hold on. Scroll back. You've made it so that it can operate with a Patreon type deal?
No, it's built to replace Patreon as well.
So you don't have to pay that. But and if I remember correctly, what's the fees on the storefront? 2%?
Storefront. Any sales made on the storefront is 2%.
Okay. On top of whatever the Shopify fees are.
On top of whatever Stripe fees are.
So
you don't need Shopify if you're using the storefront.
Okay, so but that's usually 2.9 plus 30, right? Like regardless of the platform.
Yeah, wherever you're at, that's going to be the price.
Okay, so I have a Shopify store for sealed, right? I run sealed on this. I've set it up the way I want it. If I was to attach storefronts, would it overtake my entire store, or would it be a page on my store sort of separate.
You're confusing it and thinking they're linked. They're not.
Okay, so unconfuse me.
Storefront is its own website. Like it cuts Shopify entirely out of the picture
Okay,
and
so
replaces it with itself. If you want to use, like, it could be another website that you use instead of Shopify or alongside Shopify, but um, it's its own system, basically. So what you would like if you would go to Crystal Commerce, right? You pay Crystal Commerce and they build you a website for you. Um, so you're paying them then $99 a month plus 2.5% plus 2.9 plus 30, just to have your own website. Storefronts on our system is free on the free plan, but we just charge 2%.
so
That makes sense.
what's the non-free plan? What does that do?
What do you mean?
You said it's free on the free plan, so it's something.
No,
What?
it's free on the free plan.
Gotcha. So it becomes your URL, and you operate in the system, and you just keep everything on the OS that is your inventory management tool.
Yep.
And the fee on that is 2%. Um, I mean, I don't even hate the fee. I guess my question is, since I've already built my website, not that my dev would probably kill me, but if I wanted to link the uh, Shopify, my Shopify as it was, with your Shopify plugin, I would have to just build all the filters and management tools, yada yada yada.
On Shopify side,
On
yes.
Shopify, yes, yeah. So
So
rather,
we push all of that stuff over for you to use. Like it's pushed as meta fields. You just have to build the collections to filter them with.
okay, so it's friendly enough, but the question is how much you value that 2%, basically.
Yeah, and how much do you value nice fancy hover effects on foils? You want to combine everything that you do in your business, whether it's Patreon memberships, wholesale discounts, bookings. I believe we've set up. Um, what else was there? Subscription packages, so you can subscribe to a booster box monthly thing. Anything like that is all built in as well.
And so every nickel and dime that comes through, you're getting 2%, but you're setting up all of that as a part of this. And then processing of payment is through your system, but through Stripe ultimately.
Yes.
Okay. Um, and you can do this with or without. Because so I guess it wouldn't make sense to not have the other inventory management tools and scans, but you could technically do it without, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the cost of the storefront? Just the 2%?
Yep.
Are you seeing more people launch a storefront?
I've seen a lot of storefronts get launched. Yeah, and they're very builder friendly. Like they're drag and drop builder. You can literally ask ChatGPT to configure like the CSS and Liquid for you and completely customize the entire layout of everything so you look completely different from other people who use storefronts.
Gotcha.
Like it's its own entire platform. It's not just, oh, it's a drag and drop builder that you can make your own website on. No, it's literally a fully custom builder, drag and drop, page builder. What you see is what you get editor.
So how does it do with auto pricing for sealed? Same as the per singles? No difference?
It does it same as singles. I mean, but it's separate. You can customize how sealed prices, and you can also have floors, cost-based floors. All of the modules that auto pricing has can reprice sealed, but you can respect that you don't want it to go under 30% under cost or anything like that. It's all customizable in that way.
What's the I'm gonna ask some questions from chat in 2 seconds. What's the turnaround for a storefront to launch?
Sign up.
Sign up. Got it. All right, we had some questions. So storefront creates an actual website. That's a question from a few minutes ago.
Yeah, good. Literally, you can put your own domain on it and everything.
If sorts were to end or reduce subsidized shipping, what would pricing look like versus, for example, pirate ship?
Well, it's going to be a bit more than that in terms of, the letter side because it's tracked letters. It's not just plain letters. You can always integrate your own Easy Post and just get whatever Easy Post pricing is and not have to pay our API fees.
But you could integrate it directly.
Yep.
Okay. Just for my own edification, why Easy Post versus stamps.com or whatever?
I don't think Stamps has an API.
Got it. Okay. Apparently, the dev does it for fun as a side project. I think they were talking about.
Yeah, they're talking about
TCG.
TCG tracking.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Sort Swift haters in the TCG tracking group too, and I'm not sure why. I think it's just because they're like, oh, well, I have this for free. Why would I even ever want to talk to you?
Well, on the flip side, no, I don't think there's a reason to hate you, but do you
Oh no,
understand?
there are people that hate me, 100%.
There are people that hate you?
Yep.
Okay, why do they hate you?
Honestly, I don't know. Like I went in a chat on one of Phantom's groups, and there was a guy that literally called us scum, and I still don't know why. And then there were people that were going along with it, like, yeah, I think so too, because their pricing is predatory. And I'm like, whatever. That guy just signed up. He asked our AI chatbot like how to use the system. He got an answer and he signed up right away to whatever the AI chatbot said. And then that guy calls us scum. He's like, yeah, I think so too. Their pricing's predatory. I don't even know what I signed up for. And I'm like, well, do you want a refund? He's like, yeah. So I refunded him. And then he went on to proceed and, just basically trash me in that chat. So he honestly got a ban. Like he was the second person we banned.
I mean, it's your platform. I would never mind that. Micah answers my support questions at 2 a.m. Can't hate that kind of service. There you go. I mean, he's shooting the shit with me right now. So what's the okay? You're getting hate online. Everything seems to be centered around the pricing conversation. Is there anything that's not like? I wish it had this feature. I wish it didn't do this, or I wish it had this old feature that they got rid of. Something like that.
Mm, Anytime someone says, I wish it did this, they have it same day.
Okay.
And that's another reason, that people pay for our service. I mean, because there was one guy that requested something and he was like, I can't believe that the lightning fast support, like this feature that I requested is um, working great. It's finally happy to see a software that has lightning fast support. And I'm like, yeah, happy to hear it. But that's one thing that I think people don't realize, that when you're actually paying for something, you open a ticket and it actually gets solved and built. Which I know. I can't remember his name. He was in your chat earlier.
Loomis, Sam.
Yeah, I know he says the same thing, that he'll build whatever you want. So will I.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Sam takes on the challenge for sure. I know that much. But I don't think he's questioning that you're not going to build something, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
Bluntly, I imagine, and this is, take this with a grain of salt. I have not built any of these systems. I try to be friendly with everybody, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I joked the other day that I'm probably going to piss everybody off involved just because of the way I'm doing it. But then the challenge with bronze, I'm going to use your scans to show how the scan systems over the same time period work between Card Uploader and your system, and highlighting the fact that these are free scans. But for the sake of Sam and the fact that it is unlimited inventory, I am going to be pushing everything towards Loomis so I can see how that operates, because I want to showcase how all of these things sort of work and sort of in sync with what I talked with you about before, which is the difference in the hardware pieces, right? Like, I know Phantom is getting Fizzbatch, and the plus side of the Fizzbatch is it's been around for a long time, and you can finance it. The downside of the Fizzbatch is it's very costly, right? Comparatively, I can get 3 of your machines for the same price as 1 Fizzbatch, and that's a uptick. It's a larger uptick in quantity of cards per hour, even if that's the only metric that you were considering, in fairness. Now, there's a babysitting feature that the 2 of us, you and I, have talked about, which is the bin size creates a bottleneck, which in theory lessens the effective rate of cards per hour based on bin size alone, potentially, without being babysat, I should say. Would you say that's a fair assessment of the difference between the 2 hardware platforms?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, if
I know
you,
it's not apples to apples, right? Because you would say, well, you should get the super sorter if you're going to go real apples to apples, right?
well, so the Fizzbatch only does so many games for recognition, right? It can't sort penny sleeves, can't sort top loaders. I don't think it can do Yu-Gi-Oh, just because of the size of the machine, like slots.
Okay.
Um, so, I mean, if you want to do every game and you want to run penny sleeves, then the super sorter is the solution. Um, Also, I actually have a customer who has a super sorter and a fizz batch, and he honestly prefers the super sorter and says he wishes he could just return the fizz batch and get a super sorter for like a second one. Uh, and it really comes down to, again, support, because he had an open ticket with them. I'm not going to name what the ticket is because it'll give away who it is, but
Uh-huh.
um, for a specific thing to be fixed, that apparently I also had the same issue. And he told me, and it was resolved that night. And he said, I've been waiting for 3 weeks for this, and it's still not fixed on their system. And it's a simple fix. Like, it shouldn't take that long.
Now, you've talked about the mini, at least, because that's the one I'm most interested in, to be fair. Um, you talked about it not yet having the hollow tech built in. It's more about a software basis right now. That's how
Yeah.
but that would be fairly easy to do. I realize time is really the most valuable commodity that you probably have a lack thereof. But my question is, how long would it take to do that?
Like, replace it once it's built or build it.
Build it in general, I guess.
Um,
Like if I ordered one off the line tomorrow, here's $9,000.
uh,
Why wouldn't it come with this hollow detection at the technical level, not just at the software level?
because the software level doesn't support the hardware level that it's doing. Uh, it's just not programmed to do it. The hardware exists. It's not the hardware that's the problem. It's the time of designing the bracket to sit it on there and then tune the software to read it and understand, okay, this is the card I just looked at. This is the foil one versus this one. So I guess 3D designing, ordering the part, 3D designing the bracket it goes on, and then putting it on. That's the holdup.
Okay. Um, I've asked about 50 questions of you. I'm not the reason anybody's probably going to watch this. So my question is, what question do you want to ask of me?
I have no idea.
I
I'm
mean,
usually not the one to ask questions. I just like answering them.
I know, but I figured I'd give you an opportunity to take a shot at me.
No, you're all good. Yeah.
Um, so you're not the only game in town for scanning. You're saying you're not the only game in town for inventory management. You're really, 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 really good for really big players, right? And I mean like the Robs and the Louis and things like that. You're um, well worth it for your mid caps who need the point of sale system and other features that at $500 a month all in, it really doesn't matter. That's a nickel for every dollar that they're making, so it doesn't really matter. It seems like the commentary, the feedback, the hate, as you were saying, comes from. But I'm not mid. I'm 6 months in. I'm a year in. I have 50,000 cards, which means I have to pay $100 a month, and $100 a month it becomes untenable compared to my alternatives. And my alternatives may not do everything that you do, but it does more than enough for the price point. My question is, would you ever consider either maybe it's just to sweep the leg, either to end the conversation and combat the noise, or because you wanted to eliminate market share? Would you ever consider a lower price point at a different value stream than where you're saying your current starter package lies, or more? This goes back to the API call conversation or on eBay. Would you ever consider these things to just say, I want to end the dialogue, I want to end the conversation, and I'm just gonna $49.99 a month, and you're gonna get unlimited scans, you're gonna get unlimited inventory, you're gonna get whatever you're gonna 5 different platforms, whatever it is that you think the market would demand in this scenario. And yes, that's 5 times more than card uploader, right? But it's well worth it because of X, Y, Z reasons. Would you ever consider things like that to just sort of end the argument?
No, because we had to raise prices by 25% because of how much infrastructure was costing us
Okay.
to actually operate at this scale. So going back down just wouldn't make sense because we already had to raise them to be able to keep up.
Okay. See, I don't think people are going to understand that. Like, one, and listen, personally, I am somebody that you set an expectation, whatever that expectation be, especially around pricing. You don't tend to go back, and it's not because you're trying to be a dick. I look at it like there's a reason we went to this cost structure, and with that cost structure, if there's opportunity for, let's call it, well, a get ahead, right? Like right now, my costs are lower, yeah, but my costs may be higher in 2 months, and in the meantime, I'm going to bank that to go do this other project, right? Like as a business, it's never really going back to the person; it's going back into the business. So I respect that. I guess the lowest that you've determined that is comfortable from a business side is as the settings that you have. So there's really not room to sort of end the debate. And I grant from your position that there is no debate. It's not that others can't or shouldn't be using these other things. It's that they're not truly comparable. Um, is there any point of comparison that you see validity in, though?
Mm, I mean, the scanning is great. Unlimited for $9.99 is awesome. But anybody's like, well, I can go to Card Uploader and get unlimited scans for $10. I'm like, yeah, but you can go to SortSwift and get unlimited scans for $0. That's my argument to whenever somebody says that. Um, and they're like, oh, SortSwift, but SortSwift charges for scans. I'm like, no.
Okay.
A lot of people don't realize that. Um, then there's they want to be able to sync it to eBay, right? So as soon as you scan it on SortSwift, guess what? You can make a CSV and upload it to eBay just like you can on Card Uploader for also $0.
Is Card Uploader not a direct inventory management tool now? I thought that's what they were doing now.
I think they are working on that.
What? My understanding is it's a direct inventory management.
Yeah, but last I discussed this was when it wasn't, so I haven't really seen it. I don't know how it works. Um, I know they're trying to integrate with Manapool, which I know the scale of the back end of everything. Manapool is a cheap platform to integrate with because of their API. Um, if you want to start going to stuff beyond Manapool and eBay, which I still don't know how they're doing eBay for that price, which then again, maybe the $10 goes straight to the eBay API, like development and stuff, server costs, whatever. Um, Once they break out of, just eBay and Manapool, maybe they're not a for-profit company and they want to stick at a small team of and just pay the small team. But it is not ever going to be able to get to a scale, which granted, I saw Phantom's, payouts for affiliate, which means he's brought them like 600 customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So card uploader having 600 customers, giving him $600 is leaves them nine. So like what, $5,400 a month from 600 customers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's enough to pay what, one person,
Yeah.
So
And that's just what Phantoms brought, right? That's just one person in this
mhm.
in this equation.
But you know, me managing all of the tickets, we've got another developer handling tickets, and we only have 1,000 customers. Granted, we have a ton more features to maintain. I think we've got millions of lines of code, but if they're just managing that small stuff, then sure, they can handle it with a small team. But it's it's not going to be possible for them to maintain it for much longer and want to be able to grow and do other things. They're going to be stuck in a place of, well, we can sync to X and Y, but we can't do Z unless you pay, more. Which maybe they'll make a $20 tier that gives you more, but it's never going to get to a scale of, okay, here's your dedicated rep. Open a ticket, call us, text us, whatever. Um, at the scale that it is and the price point that they're at.
So let's just say, for sake of argument, that using Phantom is a great way of into this conversation for the math. Phantom's brought them $6,000 a month. That's one person who's become a force multiplier. Great for them, right? And independent of that, you have other fellow shills that maybe there are five others that bring them an equal amount, and so we're dealing with to the tune of 30,000 or no 25,000 a month, right? Just from the top end shills, and then there's a few extra stragglers or people who just joined to join, didn't go through an affiliate, whatever it may be. And so let's call it conservatively across the enterprise $50,000 a month. Now that's 3 or 4 people's payroll plus server costs plus. Would you agree that that's within the art of the potential, not necessarily the possible?
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
back. Okay.
They
So
could very likely be doing that much.
Okay, so they're making 50K in our scenario, and they're doing that with just a few, shills, yada yada yada. They're making 50K, and they're paying for all the goods and services that they need and their staff. The user experience is, well, I only have to pay $10, and to your point, there may be a slowdown in the tickets, or there may be a slowdown in future capability on the roadmap. But I only have to pay $10 for unlimited scans, plus what my understanding is an inventory management tool. Because my understanding of that is truthfully based on what Bronze and Sam have talked about recently in Loomis, which is Loomis doesn't love that you don't own the inventory. You don't own the scans, so to speak, because it's not your SKUs, it's the card uploader SKUs, right? And I think that's probably the same for your system. I don't know that, and Bronze has basically said that doesn't bother me because it's the tool I'm using, right? Like, so it doesn't matter.
What do you mean don't own the scans?
Well, like if you were to leave the card uploader or maybe SourceSwift as well, You don't have a way of, this is my understanding, I could be butchering this, you don't own a way, you don't, like, the minute you upload it to eBay, unless you're using the CSV file, and again, this is my understanding, so please correct me, unless you're using a CSV file basis, it sort of dies if you leave these inventory systems. You can't go to another system and bring over the same or previous inventory baseline of SKUs and everything. So,
It really depends on the system because ours lets you export it.
okay. Okay. Um, okay.
Like we fully believe that the system we've made is the best system ever.
Oh, sure.
We give you everything in possibility that you might want to go to a different platform. Like we don't hold you hostage like some of these other ones do. Like, oh well, your stuff's on eBay now. Good luck getting it off and going somewhere else. That's our system doesn't do that. It literally gives you a way of exporting, customizing that export exactly how you want it, adding the link to the files and the images where you can just go to them and download them. It's not, you know, well, you're on here forever, and even on our export it gives you the locations of all the cards per card,
Okay.
saves your cost per card. So you just literally export and you've got everything that you had on SourceSwift in a CSV file per card.
Okay. So that's, and again, I don't know how Card Uploader does this. Maybe that's a challenge with the Card Uploader.
The card uploader does not put the images in a CSV file whenever you export it, right? So if you're exporting it and going to a different platform, you don't get the old images that you used to upload. So you're stuck with just stock images on whatever platform you go to, which I only know this from experience of people doing that.
See, and my irony is that I prefer the stock images and don't really want to deal with the scans, but that's my own challenge and burden to bear. So, actually, this is a separate question. I'll take the opportunity to be completely selfish here. I've made myself very known that I would prefer to use stock images. Stock images don't really exist for reverse hollows, do they? Or hollows?
SourceSwift has some, yeah.
Some, but not all, because it just depends on what they are.
Yeah, and we're slowly building that catalog out where it actually has those.
Okay. And I think I understand you introduced another thing, which was sort of like a pre-made of, like, you can have a second picture, which is like a little bit more like almost advertising, right? Like on the, whatever it may be that you want to say on the second picture. It doesn't have to be a scan. It could be just an auto picture function that goes on the upload.
Yeah, we built all of that. You can drag and drop builder your own images. There's also the ability of like highlighting specific areas on cards if you want that card specifically to have its own special cropping. Like maybe there's a swirl or something. You can go in and edit that crop and add in a specialized crop to show that swirl. You can highlight nicks, or you can make global corner crops where it'll add another picture of each corner to the listing. So you set a global crop, which then crops each of those and adds those to the listing. But you can also override those and add extra ones per card as well.
Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting, actually. So when the way I operate, this is my last selfish question personally. The way I operate is people bring me their bulk and I give them store credit, and that store credit goes on Shopify, and that store credit then is something that they get to use to buy from the store.
Mm-hmm.
How would that work on your storefront?
Same way.
It has no difference.
No, you can add the store credit on our system and it goes to the storefront and they can spend it on the storefront.
Okay. So I didn't know. I wasn't sure if you had a built-in store credit kind of a thing. So that's more or less what I'm asking.
It also can integrate into Shopify store credit if you want to. So,
would there be any purpose of doing that?
You take a buy list in, and then you can quickly add the store credit with one button instead of having to go type it.
What's this buy? Explain the buy list. You've said this like 2 or 3 times now. Maybe I'm just not understanding or slow on the uptake, which is possible. What is this buy list piece that you're talking about?
It's a website that people can go in, search the cards. You pre-set up what you pay for stuff. It shows them the offer that you're willing to pay for those cards, and then they add it to the cart, submit the buy list order, and then give you the cards. You look over them, approve it, and then you choose to either give them cash or credit. And if it's credit, you click one button, it adds it to their account and links it to whatever store credit you're integrated to.
Okay, so I said it was going to be the last, but you just made me think of something. I want to do an affiliate program.
Mm-hmm.
Where when somebody delivers X amount of bulk or whatever, and I pay them out, this affiliate gets they get something for it.
Like
What's
an MLM type thing?
Kind of, yeah. How is that functional within your system in any way?
That would be more storefront related. I believe we have referral stuff set up that way.
So storefront
is a compilation of all kinds of tools that would be customer facing.
But in theory, it could take that piece of it on and automate this.
Yeah.
Okay. But I would need it to understand. Does it have a bulk option?
The buy list?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can set up how much you pay for bulk commons and uncommons. Say you give $4 per thousand, $6 credit, $4 cash, and let them type how many they have, and then it adds that to the cart for that specific buy list submission.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also set it up where they're like, oh, I only buy in chunks of 1,000, and then then they have to submit it in chunks of 1,000 instead of.
But on the back end, presumably, you have to verify those counts and then justifiably say it was actually 200 more or 200 less, and so therefore I'm decrementing this ticket against it. So how does that work in the system?
It automatically logs it. They get an email whenever they submit it that they can go in and actually look at the listing and see any changes that you've done. And then you can email them and say, hey, we're done with your buy list. It changed this, this, and this. Go look and make sure that that's something you want to do. The buy list has its own chat system too. So all they got to do is click on that link that they get whenever they submit it. They can chat with you straight there, and then any messages you get pop up on that buy list, and you can reply straight in the buy list system.
Okay, and then in that theory, they said they had 1,000 commons and uncommons by way of example, and they chose to take trade in this example. Is that a secondary option?
Yep. Yeah, you can give them cash instead, or credit instead.
But the point is that they could, they sort of get a choice once they're informed of what the cash and credit option is. They can actively make a choice to put whatever.
Yeah, they basically, you'd offer what they chose, but if they want to decide to change it to cash, then they can change it to cash, and it's like one click on your side.
Got it. And then because this is all built in theory, the affiliate would auto link to whatever your affiliated program meant.
Well, I don't think the affiliate program's built into the buy list, but that honestly sounds like a good idea to do.
I mean, that's what I want. Not that it need be. You don't need to do it for me. I'm just saying that that's where it comes in my head versus the very manual version of this.
Yeah, it's built more so for the selling side of it currently. It hasn't really been thought of like, oh, well, this person referred me a buy list, so I need to give them a little cut.
Yeah,
That hasn't really been thought.
that's my job out here, trying to think of new things. So I guess I've tried to use our time tonight, which I very much appreciate you taking the time because you were just peacefully showering and then you got on with this jackass. Um, I know why you can't lower your pricing. Um, and I can at least respect why that is based on the actual information here. Even if it was just, I can't because it's a bad move for how I'm going to want to grow this thing, right? That's
Well, let me give you some insight on pricing for our competitors.
sure.
So anybody that's offering a system similar to ours in our upper end space for actual card stores, for no fee, like the no fee aspect of how we don't charge commission, um, those plans are anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a month.
Okay.
So us being able to offer all of that, and I'm going to use our regular core plan in this case, plus the eBay sync, for which, by the way, also includes scanning and none of these other systems that charge that 2,500 or 22,000 to 5,000 offer. Most of them don't even have direct syncs to eBay, stuff like that. You can get away with our system for like 263, right? Because you had to debate the main core plan.
Right.
So, $263 a month versus, and I'll name off numbers. One platform goes anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 a month, and what we offer, you get a majority of what is on the $5,000 a month plan, and then the other two are just flat out, or other three are just flat out charge fees. So one of them is 2,500 a month. I believe the other one is 850 a week. And actually, the third one doesn't have a no fee plan.
Okay. So this is where my head goes when I hear things like that. You are to those systems how others view Card Uploader is to you using the SAT version of Logic, right? It doesn't make sense to me, based on everything that you're offering, for anybody who would pay those other systems to not use you.
Mm-hmm.
But it does make sense for many to say, for $10 a month, I get a baseline inventory management system, an unlimited scans, and a cost profile that I can swallow at especially a kind of that 0 to 18-month range of development for most people in the space, because it's baked in, and mostly because of the unlimited inventory, it's manageable, and I can account for the $10 or whatever it may be, right? Like, let's say they move it to $20 in the future to add more features of some sort. That feels more manageable than the 49 or 99 version that I understand you can't come down on. But I think that's where the strategic compromise of the challenge seems to be in the space right now online is, why would I pay $49.99 or $99.99 or $125, which is where I think I would have to come to get effectively similar output, but with unlimited scans? Like, I think that's where the space seems to be, is the price per unit and manageable cost for a small time seller or a lower end seller seems to be the challenge here. Do you see kind of the cause and effect of where you are compared to these much binder POS and other things? Seems to be the same correlation people are making in mass as it relates to Card Uploader versus SwordSwift.
Yeah, and I think Card Uploader is great for like the hobbyist, right?
Okay.
But then again, also I think SwordSwift is great for the hobbyist. But another thing, I don't think SwordSwift is great for the bulk hobbyist. If someone's just selling bulk, then SwordSwift honestly is probably not the solution for that. But
Why
if
is that?
someone is, Just the limitation on the inventory.
Okay. So see, that feels like a legitimate um give and take here in this conversation, because I agree with you that Sword Swift doesn't feel like the bulk option uh for the hobbyist, as you were saying, right? Like for that just starting out 0 to 18 months, most people are, but that's also where most people enter as a bulk dealer, right? Like in that entry phase of things. And so what I appreciate that kind of admission, because I think that's where people get lost. They see that the Phantoms or the TJs or the whomever who started with bulk, right? And go, bulk is unlimited upside, no real cost downside, great margins. You should use these tools. Now, to be fair to Phantom and others, a lot of them kind of play on both sides of the fence here. They'll say card uploader is great, but I'm using Sword Swift because it's better for my business or whatever it may be, right? TJ, I don't think ever really did that because he was really using any of these softwares prior to switching over to Sword Swift. But I think that's kind of where the rub lies, is that, yeah, but I deal in bulk because that's where I can buy, that's where my margins are, that's where I know, that's where I watch the TJs and the Phantoms and the others, and this is where to go. So now I'm at a loss because the systems are pushing, the players in those ecosystems seem to be pushing for one tool over another for their businesses at their scale now. And as a byproduct, they're left with the desire to say, but where does that leave me? And I can only afford the $10 system. So maybe this isn't for me, or maybe Sword Swift isn't for me, or maybe that's the natural push. I think that admission means a lot more than you or others are willing to admit, and others being that the others that are complaining about the systems and the pricing, because they're sitting here saying that why can't I use the system that's meant for, or these other YouTubers and big boys who started with bulk themselves are using. And I think that admission is probably harder to I have not heard it so succinctly and probably correctly. And I think that becomes the challenge in this space right now, is that card uploader is probably better for the bulk dealer, and bulk dealers writ large are where a lot of this space is. And they want to be in your tool because of the scalability, or because of the fact that you have great marketing going on right now from, I'm calling them shills because they would say that jokingly themselves, but great people in this space, and the Phantoms and the TJs. And so there's this disconnect. And I don't know how to solve that, since we've talked about your price per unit. It can't really come down. But I do think that that's always going to be the continuous challenges, because for me, I mean, just to be flat out, I make pretty good money in this industry now. Now, I haven't proven myself enough in this industry to warrant me saying I'm going to spend XYZ dollars on a monthly basis. It has nothing to do with one tool or another. I'm barely using any tool, right? Like, because of the way in which I'm operating in the space. But it is a detractor because of the sheer number of cards I plan to work on, to say, well, just in order to get through the door, I almost have to spend X amount of money versus its alternatives. And I can probably afford to spend on those. I can afford to certainly spend on the alternatives, but I can probably afford to spend your version of things on a monthly basis. And even if you said tomorrow, Ryan, to shut you the hell up, I'm going to give it to you for free because I want you to see what the hell you're talking about and why this isn't a big deal, or why the benefit is X versus Y. I do think that assessment of it's not really geared for the bulk seller at the hobbyist level of 0 to 18 months is such a big admission of it's not guilt, it's of truth, of saying not everything is meant for everybody. And I think the problem is right now everybody's pushing like everything is meant for everybody, because I do think that you offer enough entryway in with that 2,500 cards that it feels inclined to say I can make this work until all of a sudden, to make my business work, I have to have 50,000 cards listed because that's how my business is structured. And that's not how this would work at a price point that makes sense anymore. And so there's this teetering on the seesaw that you lose the audience just as you're about to gain them. Is that a fair kind of wrap up of sort of the criticisms therein and the challenges therein as it relates to the rest of the market space versus your tool?
I'd probably say that, yeah.
Okay. I think what you have is an amazing tool meant for beyond the hobbyist. And even though I'm probably beyond the hobbyist at this point, the reason I haven't committed to a tool largely is because of two things. One, hardware. You and I have talked about this. I desperately want your hardware, but financing is a consideration to this, just because it's the best use of dollars in the space. And the second thing is, I would then be locked into your system, but to be locked into your system would probably mean
not really. You wouldn't be locked in. No.
Well, if I was to use your tool, though, right?
No. The Super Sorter exports in any format and can put on any platform.
Well, that's actually a good selling point that everybody should hear, and for anybody and I'm going to point people to this part of the conversation because I want people to hear this. That's a really good selling point, because I would have thought that you have to be on that in order. Now, it'd probably make the most sense just naturally, but it's good to know that you don't have to. If you were to say tomorrow, snap your fingers, change one thing about this conversation. And I don't mean just this conversation. I mean the conversation in the market space. And you couldn't say the pricing piece. I've tried to come back to this in a few different ways. Would it be just that this tool may not be
pricing?
What'd you say?
I said I can't think of anything other than pricing.
Yeah, but would you think it's fair to say that, like, the recent marketing push, for instance, from those who love the tool, and I mean that they clearly love the tool. I hate the fact that people are talking about, oh, they're shilling for this. I'm like, no, they like something and they're talking about it the same way you would talk about a car or a girl or a guy that you really like. There's no difference to me. And shilling in this aspect is just literally talking about the thing that they're using to their success. In the same way that I don't give TJ any problems, or I give him flowers for the fact that he's grown to what he is, or Phantom that he's grown to what they are. I don't look at that as a negative. I look at that as a positive. It may not be where somebody else is in their journey, but it is a positive to strive towards. In the same way that I think that it may be a statement of fact to say, SwordSwift may not be for you right now, but when it is, we're going to be ready for you to do X, Y, and Z. Like, I think that's a fair thing to stipulate. So if it isn't pricing, what's the natural gravitational pull of, I wish that people would let go of this factor? Is it the inventory? Like, because I've sort of focused on that of, like, if you had unlimited scans and unlimited inventory, but made me pay for specific API access, and under that $99 threshold, right? Kind of at the $50 threshold, I think you'd have more vocal proponents and that say, I would rather pay $50 a month, getting unlimited scans, unlimited inventory, and one or two of I think when I reached out to you, it was like eBay and one other thing, whatever that one other thing is for you as a seller on the platform. If you did that, I think most people would jump ship from the $9.99 once they sort of got past the initial testing, sort of the same way that Phantom jumped from Card Uploader to your platform. And they wouldn't care that they had to do a little extra work versus the high res. And they wouldn't care about it because they would look at it as, I'm paying a little bit more right now per month so that when I scale beyond the hobbyist, and let's be honest, most of them won't. Most of them will die on the vine because that's just the natural part of the cycle, probably. But if they did, then they would be more prepared for that scale in the future as a byproduct. And you, just putting it out there bluntly, would probably earn more on the volume metrics, and with the knowledge that a lot of them are going to not survive first contact or second wave of contact, because a lot of these people, myself potentially included, I'll put myself in the danger zone because I have not been doing this for 0 to 18 months, to say, you know what, I'm done. And yes, I paid $50 when I could have paid 10 or 0, depending on if it's TCG tracking, right? But you got $50 out of me more each month for say 8 months versus the 10 over the same period of time to Card Uploader. You would have, it's almost like a gym membership in that scenario. Is there a world in which you see that as like, you may not do it, but you see that as a factoid of how you could pump up your volume and understand where the user community probably wants you to be?
I mean, yeah, you're giving me thoughts to talk to Devin about tomorrow.
Good. I mean, that's awesome because I all I want to do is put good thoughts into the world. And frankly, I'm not a shill for any of these platforms because I'm not using the goddamn one of them right now. If anything, I've been the biggest shill for Sam, mostly because I know him and I want him to be successful. And I think he would be proud to hear me say that, but also he wouldn't be surprised because I know how much he has said on behalf of all of these systems. This shit's hard, and anybody doing it needs to be dedicated to it, right? And so I don't question anybody's dedication, yourself included, into this space, and because talking until almost 2 a.m. with a jackass that you don't really owe anything to, just because you want to put out there into the world what you've been building and try and answer some questions takes commitment. So I will thank you for your time and give what I offered 25 to 30 minutes minimum ago. What's a question you want to ask me, even if it's just, can you shut the hell up?
Well, if we so I'll talk to you about what I want to talk to Devin about tomorrow.
Okay.
And I say talk to Devin about it because Devin is the business partner I have to discuss things like this with him.
Yep.
While most cases he's like, well, if you think it'll do it, let's do it. He usually doesn't oppose because he realizes that a lot of the ideas and direction have been, me, and he's been the implementer.
Right.
Of course, the other developers too, right? So we now have a team of 4. So we've got me, Devin, Steve, and Sakib, who, handle all of this, right? Sakib is more of our infrastructure man, not database management because that's Devin. Steve is our new guy that's trying to help with the onboarding stuff, but that's not what I'm talking to Devin about tomorrow. Devin, I want to discuss with him about the inventory stuff that you were talking about because, I think it's at a scale. I mean, everybody's already got access to all the tools on inventory, but I want to think of it in a way of, is it going to upset the higher paying customers if we, limit the inventory and then, allow more people access, right? So
I can't tell you what the higher pay, what I can't tell you what somebody who's already accessing the tool would say. What I can tell you is what I would say if I was in the higher paying tool. Why does it matter? Because I'm presumably paying for what I'm getting the value of, and I don't really care what anybody else is getting the value of at that point. And if I'm already higher paying, I'm probably using it because I am a mid-sized to high-level shop, and it doesn't particularly matter.
So, question: how many cards does the average person have when they do bulk?
I'll be blunt with you right now. I'm going through 250,000 cards I had planned to list. Mm-hmm. And right now I'm planning to bulk a lot of them out, but tomorrow I could get 250,000 more. And I would say to you, the average is probably around 50 to 100K. And I'm using that based on having conversations with Roar and Bronze. Bronze is probably the exception to the rule because he has so many. Sam, I can tell you that Pat from Hound Dog is probably more than 100,000. Now the average is probably closer to the 50 to 100. But if you're talking about the not quite mid cap, but well beyond the, not quite yet to be a Louis or a mid cap, but in the YouTube space / I'm doing this professionally or at some level beyond hobbyist. It's probably use 100,000 as the marker is probably the right number. Now, whether that's comfortable or not, I don't know. The difference, and this is a point of I don't know for you in terms of cost point. But at that point, why have a cap? Because 100,000 feels like at that point, why have a cap? And again, I don't know the pricing structures, how they're built, why they're built the way that they are. But in my head, at $49.99 a month with an unlimited cap on inventory and unlimited scans on the not high res scans and 2 platforms, eBay, and you pick which 2. It doesn't matter which 2 you pick. You get to pick which 2 there are. You would have 1,000 signups probably in a day. Because we just admitted that there's probably 600 that Phantom has brought over just a card uploader alone.
Mm-hmm.
So this becomes a volume-based game, which is the same game that the bulk buyers and slingers are dealing with. It's a volume-based game. On top of, you will probably end the argument, or at least come damn close to it.
So let's look at it at a bundle tier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to discuss it with you like I would discuss it with Devin.
Okay.
The starter plan is $100, has 2 syncs,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll discuss with him also the ability of swapping and see how much that hurts the API. I don't think it'll hurt it too bad because, and I might do it in a way of, instead of forcing them to have, X, Y, and Z sync, we could, instead of naming them, change the number to market syncs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that may honestly help some code on the back end too. Like I can already visualize how we could do that. But the other thing is, and see, this is why we have discussions. Now that you mention it, I've been asked that question. I don't know how many times, if we could just swap them, and I'm tired of being asked it, so I'll just build it. And then the other thing on the inventory, I don't know how to go about doing unlimited inventory properly. Like, would a free tier, instead of doing 2,500 and then doing 10,000 and then 20,000, would doing free at 50,000 and then on the entry plus go to 100,000, and then on the entry max go to 150,000, and then once it hits the starter tier, it goes to unlimited. Would that be? Because that's basically what you're saying.
In theory, yes, but I don't know the price points behind what you just said.
So free, it's free. Entry plus is $19, and then entry max is $49.
Entry max is 49.
Yeah, and it would have 2 syncs on it.
So entry max is 49 for unlimited scans at that point, or unlimited inventory.
It'd have 150,000.
I think you'd make a lot of friends. 150,000 is not gonna get everybody over everything, but it would make you a fuck ton of friends, to be honest. Now, what is truly unlimited? Because if you told me truly unlimited becomes $74.99, and I don't know that it does or doesn't, but for the people that it does make a difference, your jump going from 50 to 100, when maybe my threshold is I have 175,000 cards, so now I have to pay double to host 25,000. This becomes taxes, right? And you're just always trying to get under that tax threshold, right? And if I'm doing the TCG player, which I think would be automatically part of this in some capacity, it would probably sell you more of your little black boxes. I in my head, because I do this on my end for a living as well, if you're telling me 150,000 for $49.99, and you're talking about to get to unlimited is $74.99, I think you've priced everybody else out of the middle market for the most part.
Okay.
Because the choice is now I get two platforms that I want. Like I don't give a shit which two platforms they are. Now if I want to add more platforms, I want to add misprint, I want to add whatever, like cool. But almost everybody's going to choose eBay for the first one. And the other question is beyond TCG Player, which I think is automatically included in all of these because of the way it's built, the way you've built it. The other one is, well, my secondary game is mostly Magic, or my secondary game is mostly this. Like maybe for some it's misprint, maybe for others it's card ladder, maybe for others it's mana pool. That secondary one becomes the wild card, but almost everyone's going to be eBay plus, right? It's going to be rare that it's not going to be eBay plus. But in that scenario, I can grow my account with you up to that $74.99 in my theory of range. And then if I want to go beyond that, now I need to get that $12.99 plugin for misprint. I still haven't cracked $100, and I'm now on a third platform. I can get to 4 platforms before I've cracked $100, and I have unlimited scans and unlimited inventory. That's you're buying customers.
Yeah, that's I don't really want to throw in another bundle in between there. Maybe I don't remember what else starter comes with. I think it comes with like some reporting stuff.
The auto pricing was in there. The auto pricing at the $49.99 level or 20, whatever the mid level. What was between $49.99 and free? 24.
19.
Okay, so where I would say auto pricing at 19.
So 19, I believe, has basic, which automatically reprices it just to the market price that it is. It doesn't do any of the fancy stuff.
It does that every hour, or how long does that do that for?
Once a day.
Yeah, that's fine. That's basically mass price, but for $19 for everything else.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think most people would buy off on that. And then you're talking about you want to get fancier with auto pricing every hour, or whatever the hell it is that your fancy version of auto pricing does, and that comes with even more inventory, right? Like at the 150,000 range.
No, the advanced is on the starter tier, but you can always add it on for $16.99.
What's the starter tier? See, and I realize that I'm barking up trees here, right? So I'm trying to get you to the place where I think your community wants you to be. You can tell me to pound sand anytime, but if at the $19.99 range I have a mass price tool, then at the $49.99 range where you're saying unlimited scans, 150,000 units inventory management, that's where auto prices should come in. The third tier, so 0 is 2,500 or 10,000, whatever you were going to make it. $19.99 is going to be another inventory push of, let's for sake of argument call this 25,000 at 0, because I do think you would get a lot of people willing to test the system out at 25,000, 50,000 at 19, 150,000 at 49 with the auto pricing that's automatically the way that you just described, not the mass pricing that's at the 19. The $74.99 would then end up being everything that we just described, plus unlimited inventory, and then after that, to everybody I just made arguments for on the plus side as a user, a buyer, you can all fuck off. If you want additional platforms, you can pay the $12.99 for the additional platforms you want to add. But I can add up to 3 additional platforms basically, or 2 additional platforms, and I still haven't cracked the $99.99, but I've gotten along the path. I've been able to grow with the tool. I've never gotten the true high-res scans. Right, I've gotten a limited amount of them. I'm willing to bite the bullet and deal with the lesser version of those scans in that theory, because I get so much more value out of everything else, and I can use the limited versions of those high-res scans to supplement when I have the query, the question. But again, I think that buys you not only, it's customer acquisition at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm trying to think on the, because right now, if I throw another bundle into the mix, it's no longer going to be entry plus, entry max, starter plus, which technically would be starter max, but it's called online, and then it's core plus, core max. It wouldn't fit.
No, you're changing your business model, and you're telling the people who are in these packages now, here's where we're going to push you because it makes the most sense, and you're going to save money this way. Tell me you're not going to get fans that way.
I'm going to get more confused people. So it's going to happen.
Sure. I mean, or you say to those of you who are spending $99.99 right now, you're going to get all of this, and you throw in a plus that costs you very little.
Yeah, I'm trying to think on the auto pricing stuff.
Auto pricing at $49.99 becomes the game change. Because it's not just that you have inventory. Having 150,000 inventory or whatever it may be.
Well, they get the basic at 19.
Right. So what I'm saying to you is the basic at 19 makes total sense to me. But at $50, if it can't auto price the way, then having 150,000 units without auto pricing becomes a non sequitur, right? It becomes like, yeah, that's great, but I can't do much with it. Or I can't do what I want to do with it, which is make sure I'm always within the market range. I'm going to get screwed on a bunch of my units because I didn't pay $100. And you could say, well, that's the value of paying the $100. And what I'm saying is they're not going to pay the $100, right? Like good, bad, or indifferent. Again, you're building a bulk market on this, not just a collector's or like a collection buyer's market.
Yeah, but then here comes my question of, if you're on the 49 tier, why can't you just pay the 16 and still be less than the 75?
So you could. I'm trying to build in the value that I think the users would want, because then the value at the $74.99 is, or you flip it and you say at $74.99 you get unlimited inventory, unlimited scans, and the auto pricer, and that's the bigger deal. So you get the mass price tool, the regular price tool at $49.99, and you get 150,000 cards, but you only get one pricing upload every day. But at $74.99, that unlocks unlimited scans, unlimited inventory, and the auto pricer. So, and whatever other. Now you're saying it's actually cheaper to package the $49.99 with a $16 thing, and what I'm saying to you is yes, but then add a third. At the $74.99, what you would be adding is the auto pricer and unlimited inventory.
Which would be killing the $99 plan.
Correct. In every scenario, I'm killing the $99 plan. I'm growing your base.
Yeah, but then you've got to jump from 75 to 150.
But what's at 150 that I'm not getting at 75?
I believe 3 syncs, more scans. I think it's got the Shopify sync. It's got, I don't remember. It's too late.
I would ask you, how many users are actually using the Shopify sync? How many users are buying the extra package of extra scans, and how many users are, in this scenario especially, going to, like, maybe they'll buy an extra package of high res, maybe, right? But in my scenario, at $74.99, unlimited scans, unlimited inventory, auto pricing, and 2 platforms, I can buy another 2 platforms at $12.99, and I'm still not cracked $100. So I'm on 4 platforms with everything else I need, plus 1,000 high-res scans a month for less than $100.
Yeah, but we're back to the question of lowering the price of the whole system, which is what I'm trying to avoid.
I listen, brother. I hear what you're saying on your end. I'm saying you're going wider so that you, because that is going to create a different moat.
Yeah, I can see myself, increasing the limit on the bundles, but I can't see myself adding a new bundle um, in between them all because we already have 9. That would make 10.
Oh, I'm talking about changing slash eliminating. So it's really just a different operation. Now, it's not my business. I'm just giving you what I would do, which this is all theory crafting. But I think if you're curious, this is the example I gave earlier in the SAT example. You are to what the fuck, bind your POS, how other people view Card Uploader and its ilk and others, TCG tracking, maybe TCG Automate for that matter. I don't even know what they price it. I've never paid attention. Loomis, others that I know are coming along. You are to them what they are to you in comparison. And so if you don't want to get outflanked, then pricing is the way to do it. Now, if you're like, I don't particularly care, and it's okay to not care, right? Like, but customer acquisition is where you're at. Because I think we already said Card Uploaders probably got a wider base than you do. You have the big shops and the big hobbyists, right? But your base isn't probably nearly as wide, and that's a price point issue.
Yeah, we've got, I think, 2,400 customers currently.
Right. And just Phantom is doing like a quarter of that from just him on Card Uploader.
Mm-hmm.
So now, again, you're going to talk to your partners or whoever else, and you're going to look at this and go, I'm not only not doing this, I'm permanently banning Ryan from ever both talking to me or using these fucking systems. And that I understand. But if this was my Fortress of Solitude, I'd have pulled this trigger 6 months ago. But I also don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So,
Yeah, I'll have to talk with him. I mean, I can honestly see him agreeing to doing a 10x and just approaching it in that direction, which would honestly take it entry being 25,000, entry plus being what is it 100,000, and then entry max being 200,000. That'd be the easiest thing to approach and just say, hey, let's do a 10x multiplier on the inventory levels. And I mean, if you have 200,000 cards in inventory, then you're going to be able to upgrade to the $100 plan.
I think you're mistaking you're going to be able to with you're going to be willing to. That's why I focus very hard on that $50 threshold. The $74.99 is an additional thing that if you had to build in because of what the factors I can't account for. But that $49.99 becomes a mint. This is like why stocks don't break through 100 or 50 sometimes, because there's a natural affliction of the mind that says, yeah, that's where it becomes dangerous for me. That's where I just feel like that's how many cards I got to sling of bulk. That's how much profit I got to make in bulk. That's how many cards. Like that's where the machinations of the mind go, and that's all profit loss. The minute I got to get to 100 to get everything I really want out of the system, the sooner I just go, I'd rather just pay the 10.
Yeah. But if I'm also giving away everything that you get on the, the higher tiers for syncing, because, now you can subscribe for $80, $100 or $90, and get, what is it, four syncs or whatever, when used to before getting 4 syncs took $150 to $200 tier. It's
You're talking about the past. Like I understand what you're saying. It feels bad, man. But you know how many times I've had to change my rate card? You know what I mean? Like from one month to another, where somebody 3-4 weeks ago got paid out X and now I'm paying out Y. Should they feel bad or worse because they got good value when they got it and now there's more value to be had? They're just going to look at it and go, I'm not contractually obligated to keep the level I'm at. I'm going to go down the lower tier and save myself money too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Ah, see, you can't think like that. That's a scarcity mindset.
Yeah, because we're trying to hire some more people, and if we hire some more people, and then all of a sudden I say, okay, the system's cheaper.
That's how you're going to hire more people. Again, that's a scarcity mindset.
This is the same chat I had with StorePass a long time ago before we made SourceWith. I can see this.
I don't know who that is, but sure.
I had the same discussion. I was like, look, if you lowered your highest plan to $500 a month, like this, that's a good tactic. Yeah. If you would lower it to 500 a month, you would have the entire industry. And I told him this before we made SourceSwift. He's like, well, we can't afford to do that. I'm like, well, you could, because then you tap everybody. I'm hearing the same thing repeated back to me, but from someone else.
I'm the ghost of Christmas past, my friend.
Yeah, I've had this chat with someone else, but I was on the other end of it. So yeah, I
Happy to help in any way I can, and I'm sure I'm not really helpful, but I appreciate the fact that you listened at all.
Yeah, I don't think you could get listening out of a lot of the bigger other companies, right? So
I would grant you that much.
Especially people that can sync with TCG Player.
Well, that's a different story. Yeah. Well, I hope that you're either going to ping me after this and say, you fucking asshole, or I'd like to talk more. But one of those two scenarios is very likely. I do want to be mindful of the time, if not your time. Hopefully we both can get some fucking sleep, but I will make myself equally available if you have questions of me.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'll finish out this box and then I guess we can, or I can get off if you're getting off now.
Yeah, I'm probably going to crash right now, but seriously, if you want to talk more, I'm happy to get on anytime.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe not phone calls all the time because I have phone calls every day, 5 of them a day for the next 2 weeks, and it's been that way for the last 6 weeks. So,
well, get some rest. Congratulations on the new home, and we'll talk more.
That's good.
Thanks, buddy. You have a good day.
We'll see you around.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, team. This is going to be the end of our stream. Thank you, everybody who showed up and maybe watching in the future. I hope you have a good night. Bye, guys.